Hi, I'm Mickey Zeta, and I'm back. Apparently I had my Bluetooth on. So I'm starting again. I'm starting this again. Welcome. I'm Mickey Zeta, and I'm glad to have you here with me for Wednesday Night Live with Mickey. That's the thing about live, you know, sometimes we make mistakes, and I just made one. Oh, well, that happens. So I'm going to talk to you tonight about, well, let me back up. This is the week after Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was last Thursday, so it'll be a week tomorrow. And you know what happens during Thanksgiving? We see family members who wonder, were you really abused? And they make us question ourselves. We wonder, oh my gosh, I don't know, maybe I wasn't abused. You know, I was not one who had a gun held to my head or a knife at my throat. I was not hospitalized from abuse, but yeah, we were abused. If you think you were abused and you were strong enough to leave your abuser, then yeah, you were abused. Don't let people undermine you. And that brings me around to something that is really close to my heart and something I think is so important to talk about. And that's collective collusion. That's a lot about what our friends and our families have to say. They wonder, you know, what's really going on. And they don't want to believe. They don't want to believe. So here comes Thanksgiving, and they invite your ex over to their house for Thanksgiving. And man, you know, it's disconcerting because we start to question ourselves. You know, the gentleman, Ronan Farrow, who wrote the stories about the speculation, I guess it's not proven, that Harvey Weinstein abused a lot of women. And he said, this is really not necessarily a watershed time. Time will tell, because women are being brave and they're coming forward and they're talking about workplace harassment and the things that have happened to them. And that's fabulous. But unless society is willing to change, unless society is willing to make a difference in this time of life, then nothing's really going to change. And that's my fear. I'm so happy that women are coming forward. They're being brave and they're posting #MeToo because it's time. It's time. You hear more and more women speaking out. You also know that it's amazing. I listened to a couple of TEDx talks, and women are talking about their abuse, and some women who have not been abused, but they welcome the opportunity to talk about it as counselors, as therapists. So don't wonder, was I really abused? And please help support that. Society will support us. There's been a groundswell of information out about workplace abuse, and it's time. It is absolutely time for that to happen with domestic abuse. The people who are being outed, the people who are being called on their crimes toward women are rich and they're famous and they're amazing, and they're not but they're not my spouse. They're not my abuser. They're probably not yours. Ours are normal, everyday people. They're not necessarily people that have abused more than just you or maybe one other wife, but they're not famous, they're not rich, and it's not coming out. So I'm encouraging you to take a stand, and if you're able to speak out, and don't risk anything, don't do anything that's going to make you, that'll be dangerous for you, because we know women are 70 times more, the murder rate is 70 times more of women shortly after they leave abuse. And why is that? Because the men have nothing to lose. Because the abusers have nothing to lose at that point. You've already left. Stalking is another problem that we face when we leave abuse. So it's a dangerous time, and I don't encourage you to do anything that's unhealthy for you or not safe. But as you can, please speak out. Let people know. Tell your story. Even if it's just one other woman who's lived in abuse, do that. Switch, you know, tell your story. Share your story, because it's validation. What I know for sure, and I wrote a little blog post about this today, it's that we women, when we live in abuse for a long, long time, we didn't believe we were abused wives. I remember the moment that I found out, that I figured out that I was abused. And that's something that most people who don't live on abuse don't realize. They think, how in the world can you be thrown down the stairs? How can you be spit at? How can you be treated worse than anybody can imagine and not realize that you're in abuse? Well, we don't. We don't, because we see ourselves as do-gooders, as we're there for a reason. We're there to help keep that man in the lines, that we think that's where we're supposed to be. So somehow we play head games, and thank goodness, thank God, we get to the point where we think, wait a minute, this isn't normal. This isn't how people should live. And then we're able to get out. So there are two major topics going on here. One is, yes, you were abused. And the other is, people don't realize, people don't understand that. So don't let them undermine you. Don't let that happen. In fact, I just wrote a list. There's 30 or 31 things that, it's a checklist. It's called, Was I Really Abused? And many of us wonder that. It's crazy. I know it's crazy, but we do. We wonder, was I really abused? So I made this list, and it's on my website. It's www.survivingabusenetwork.com, and it's free. Just click there, get the list, and highlight the areas. If there's even one area where that you resonate with, that you say, oh, you know what? Yeah, that did happen to me. Then you were abused. You were right. And stop worrying about it. Stop worrying about it and move forward. And if you're in a situation where you're invited to be with your abuser these holidays, you don't have to go. You don't have to go. Or if you arrive and you find out that he's there, you don't have to stay. So I'm encouraging you. Holidays are a time when we run into those people, we run into our abusers, or we're invited to the same parties. Our family members don't get it. They like your abuser, and they think he's a nice guy. And guess what? He comes off that way. But you were abused. Don't let that undermine you. Isn't that a horrible question? But we get asked all the time, were you really abused? My thing was, they asked me, because I was 53 when I left, I was asked if I had if I was in a midlife crisis. You've been married to him for 34 years. You really couldn't have lived in abuse. Well, yeah, I did. And why didn't you leave? That's the other insulting question. All right, I've kind of wandered through here today, but what I want you to realize is that, yes, you were abused, and please download my list. Go to survivingabusenetwork.com, download the free list, and check it off. You know what? When I first put this together, I highlighted and I used red for those things that just still make me furious, that I endured those things. Thank you for being here. It's Wednesday Night Live with Mickey. I'm sorry I'm a little late. I'm sorry I forgot about my Bluetooth. It's all part of being live. So I hope you're enjoying a nice fire at your house. I hope you're staying nice and warm if you're up north, and that you're enjoying the warmth in the south. Thank you for being here. I'm Mickey Zeta. I'll be back on Sunday, and I will have the session number 4 of Surviving the Holidays. Thanks a bunch. See you Sunday, 7:30, right here on Facebook. Thank you.